Instead of defunding the police, maybe it's time to defund Black Lives Matter. Despite collecting over tens of millions of dollars from folks, the Black Lives Matter Global Network Foundation has failed to file their taxes for 2020. And we don't even know where all that money has gone. And now the California Attorney General is threatening to revoke the group's tax-exempt status and charge late fees if they don't provide financial records. Joining us now to break it all down is Larry Elder. He's Republican former gubernatorial candidate for the state of California. Larry, thanks for joining us. And let's stay on the money part of this. Let's keep race out of this. Let's keep identity politics out of this for just a second. Let's just talk about what's going on here. There are reports that BLM raised somewhere around $90 million in 2020 and 2021 on the heels of the George Floyd murder, killing. They're down to about $60 million. They haven't filed where they spent the $30 million, and there's no one at the head of BLM right now to explain what's going on. What are your thoughts? What do you hear? What do you know?
Well, the whole thing is just bizarre, isn't it? The three co-founders of Black Lives Matter are no longer involved in the organization. They apparently appointed some other people to run it. Those people are not running it. As you pointed out, the returns have not been filed. We have no idea where the money is going. And by the way, Eric, the whole thing is premised on the notion that Black lives are being persecuted by systemically racist police officers. There's no evidence of that whatsoever. If anything, the evidence is that the police are more hesitant, more reluctant to use deadly force on blacks than on whites. The whole thing is premised on a lie. And now all these woke corporations who've given money to Black Lives Matter have no idea where the money is.
Yeah. Larry, so her name is Patrisse Cullors-Khan. And she was a co-founder of Black Lives Matter, and she stepped down after it came out that she spent millions of dollars for multiple homes for herself, $3.2 million for several homes. But also recently, I was just reading that her wife, Janaya Khan, is part of a Canadian charity group who Black Lives Matter sent something around $6.3 million up north to Canada to buy a property. And that property was owned, you can't even make this stuff up. That property was previously owned by the Communist Party of North America.
Right. Yeah, it's $6.3 million to purchase a mansion up in Canada. And keep in mind, the whole premise of Black Lives Matter is based on Marxism. Patrisse Cullors said on a video that she and the others who co-founded Black Lives Matter are, quote, trained Marxists, close quote, which by definition means that they don't believe in private property. And as you pointed out, she resigned after having purchased several pieces of property, including one out here in California in an area called Topanga Canyon, a very high-end area with very few Black lives live. So the Black Lives Matter founder, trained Marxist, has a bunch of private properties, one of which is in an area where very few Black lives even exist. The whole thing, again, is a complete joke. And more than that, Eric, it's not just a joke, it's dangerous because what's happened all over the country in certain areas, mostly big towns, the police are pulling back for fear of being falsely accused of engaging in racism. As a result, bad guys are less likely to be caught, less likely to be convicted, less likely to be incarcerated. Crime has gone up, and the people who are primarily victimized by that crime are the very black people that Black Lives Matter claim that they care about. The whole thing is a farce, it's a joke, it's insulting, and it's dangerous, and it's hurting the very people that Black Lives Matter claim that they care about, namely black people.
You know, and there's Hawk Newsom, who runs the Black Lives Matter chapter in New York City, said he was going to push back if Eric Adams, former cop, now mayor of New York, if Eric Adams did put a new crime-fighting plainclothes police force on the streets of New York, that they were going to be met with, I believe he alluded to violence. I'm not positive, I can't really say that for sure, but it's getting dangerous. I mean, for cops out there as it is, and then for them to do this is a charity. Black Lives Matter is a 501c3. It's a charitable foundation, which means they're tax exempt. If you give to them, those donations are tax exempt. The American people are picking up the tab for Black Lives Matter. Meanwhile, Hawk Newsom, chapter chairman in New York, says we're going to push back hard on the cops in New York with crime wave spiking. Final thought, Larry.
Well, it's a perfect storm. You have this crazy defund the police movement. You have these soft on crime DAs. You have bad guys who are out on the streets because of cashless bail. And then you have this premise pushed by Black Lives Matter, that the police are engaging in systemic racism against black people. And as a result, as I said before, crime is going up in St. Louis, in Chicago, in Los Angeles, where I am. Crime is up year to year 40%. By that, I'm talking about shootings and homicides. And almost all of the shootings and homicide victims of the increased crimes are black and brown people.
Yeah, it's a shame, Larry. It's a shame. Larry Elder, awesome having you on the show. Appreciate your time, Larry.